Hi, I'm Fire, and once upon a time, my friend AK and I used to do these things called video game scavenger hunts. During the hunt, we would get a list of about 50 tasks and try to complete them with whatever video games we had downloaded. Then, whoever had the most tasks done within a 3 to 4 hour window would be crowned the winner. I used to love our scavenger hunts, but as we both grown older and gotten busier, we haven't had the time to sit down and do a new race. However, I wanted to keep the spirit of the hunt alive and turned to my Discord server to make it happen. And thus, the Achievement of the Week group was born. Every single week throughout 2023, a member of our group would come up with a task, and the first person to complete that task in a game would be the victor. The winner then got to choose the task for the next week, and so on and so forth throughout the year. Now that we sit at the beginning of 2024, or sort of, oops, this video is late, our year-long video game scavenger hunt has been completed. And as I've done in the past, I would like to share my side of the story with you. So without further ado, here's the recap of the Fireplace Discord's 2023 Achievement of the Week series. The first task set on Sunday, January 1st was appropriately New Year themed, and we were asked to find fireworks in-game. My mind immediately turned to Genshin Impact and that Inazuma Daily Commission, which asks you to set up fireworks for Naganohara. Logging in, I didn't end up with a commission. But I had a character who could launch them herself. After farming some ult charge off of enemies, I used Yoimiya's Elemental Burst to nab the achievement. Yay! Our second task for 2023 was a bit more hands-on and asked us specifically to play a piano. Thankfully, play and play well are two separate things, so as long as I was the one mashing on a keyboard, it would count. So I did just that. Booting up Stray, a game I was replaying in early January to prepare for my speedrun, I made my way over to Doc's apartment. Hidden among the literal mountain of books was a piano, which I eagerly took to for my tune. Moving right along, the next task was to eat a taco. After stopping by Del Taco and completing this achievement IRL, it was time to tackle it in-game. Booting up Stardew Valley, I walked to my kitchen and made myself a fish taco, downing it in one bite. Personally, I'm more of a burrito girl, but all's good in love and Mexican food. The next task was a classic video game objective, get a critical hit. At the time, I had just started playing Persona 3 Portable, and if there's one key to turn-based combat games like this, it's crits. Hopping onto my local dungeon, I exploited some mobs' weaknesses for that juicy crit. From the violent to the romantic, the next task was to go stargazing. While technically any video game with visible stars would have worked for this task, I had something special in mind for this one. Opening before your eyes, I took the protagonist on a stargazing date with his neighbor Chloe. Ah, young love. Moving into February, the first task of the month asked us to score a basket. While most people would think to turn to NBA 2K24 or something of the like, I don't really play sports games, so I had to get creative. Reinstalling Gone Home, I made my way over to Katie's bedroom, making a shot in the mini basketball hoop set up in her room. Let's go! The next week contained Valentine's Day, so our task for the week was, of course, to go on a romantic date. This one I accomplished during my Valentine's Day Twitch stream, grabbing dinner with the spicy lady and speed dating for ghosts. It was at this point that I discovered something quite alarming, namely that there was a mushroom growing out of the wall of my streaming room. Rightfully concerned, but also intrigued, the task for the next week was thus set to find a mushroom in a game. I took on the job once again in Stardew Valley, teaching that shroom who was boss by grinding it between my pearly whites. With that out of the way, February was wrapping up and I set my sights to March, and a Lucky Duck event me and the community would be doing on Twitch. So the next achievement of the week was set, appropriately, to finding a rubber duck. After a bit of brainstorming, I recalled playing with a ducky toy in an early scene of What Remains of Edith Finch. Reinstalling, I replayed Gregory's section to find not one, but many rubber ducks, and crossed the task off my list. During the first week of March, I was just about wrapping up my Persona 3 playthrough, which was perfect timing for that week's task, see a full moon. Since all major story beats in Persona 3 take place during a full moon, I was able to snag this task while fighting the game's terrifying final boss. Speaking of which, fuck Nick's avatar, it took me 4 hours. Needing to release some steam from Persona 3's terrifying final boss, the next task, Stab Someone, was perfect for me, especially because it lined up with another Apex phase of mine. Booting up a round of Gun Run, I stabbed someone with a kunai to the face to finish the task and win the game. With March marking the beginning of spring, we welcomed in the new season with a task to water some spring flowers. Turning, of course, to cozy titles, I booted up my Animal Crossing New Horizons island and gave my hybrids a much-needed water. Now give me some more roses, please, I'm begging you, I've been breeding for months now. Also in March was my dad's birthday. Hi, Dad! But as such, I was set to the task to find a dad in-game. Returning to Before Your Eyes, I recorded my dad recording me on my birthday. Well, well, well.
How the turntables.
Moving into April, it had been a while since we did an animal-based achievement, so the task was set to another video game classic, Pet a Dog. While my plan was initially to take on the task in Hades, I ended up finding a petable dog in Moonstone Island, a game I was trying out on Xbox Game Pass. Who's a good boy? Yes you are, yes you are! Next week, it was back to finding food, as the task was to find an egg in-game. As I had been working on exploration in Genshin at the time, it wasn't long before I spotted some eggs in the jungles of Sumeru. I'll just take those, thank you very much. Leaning into my competitive nature, the next task was to earn a gold medal. Though I originally intended to take on this task in my 2022 Game of the Year, Paw Patrol Grand Prix, I ended up completing this one by chance when doing an event in Genshin. Thanks, miHoYo! Moving along, the next task was to sign your name in-game. At the time, I was playing the newly released Coffee Talk Episode 2 and set my sights there. Creamer in hand, I signed my name in my customer's coffee, which is kinda hard to read, but hey, the achievement didn't say the signature had to be legible. During the last week of April, we once again turned to testing skill, as the task was set to gamble and win. Booting up Danganronpa V3, which I still had installed on my computer for God knows what reason, I made my way over to the casino, hit the slots, and won a line, and the task. Moving into May, Mother's Day was fast approaching, so we set a new task to find a mom. Opening Bear and Breakfast, I made my way back to my home cave to find my mama bear right where I left her. Love you, Mom. Back to classic gaming tasks, the next weekly achievement was to complete a time trial. Though I'm sure the concept of time trials would cause most to think of racing games, my mind turned to another set of timed missions. Reinstalling Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I took a few minutes to relearn the controls before completing a time trial as Ori. What can I say? I'm fast as fuck, boy! In honor of Memorial Day in the US, the next task was to find an American flag. Thankfully, I was replaying Fallout 4 at the time, and I completed this task by chance while entering a random building. Thanks, America. Gone, but never forgotten. At the start of June, me and the gamers were getting amped for the Summer Game Awards. In honor of these showcases, our task for the week was to watch a broadcast, in-game. As I was still working on Fallout 4, I picked up this task while bringing electricity to Sanctuary, where I witnessed the classic Please Stand By public service announcement. A boring broadcast, but a broadcast nonetheless. With summer in full swing, the next task was to sip a fruity vacation drink, worded vaguely as a nod to Isabelle's definitely not alcoholic beverage from Animal Crossing. Loading up Yakuza 6, I went to the nearest juice restaurant and picked the fruitiest looking drink there, finishing the task. With summertime slipping by faster and faster, I was late in posting next week's achievement, so I set the task to find a calendar in-game. Though I originally intended to go for the calendar in Stardew Valley, I got this achievement on accident while playing Road 96, stumbling across the calendar in Stan and Mitch's secret lair. While this won't help me post the next task on time, I appreciate it nonetheless, boys. Since we'd already found a mom and dad, we decided to round out the family by setting the next task as Find Your Sibling. Racking my brain for iconic video game siblings, I booted up Cuphead and found the brothers Cuphead and Milkman waiting for me on the title screen. Editor's note, apparently his name was, Mugman? Fuck. Anyways, with the start of July, I'd begun playing through the Hitman trilogy, a perfect time for another classic video game task, perform a stealth kill. Tracking my target to her beach home, I poisoned Alma Reynard's drink, leading her to the bathroom, and her doom. Definitely a stealth kill, most certainly an accident kill, don't ask questions. A week later, I was still playing Hitman, though the task was now to use a camera. Thankfully, Hitman 3 had you use your camera phone to hack electronic devices, so all I needed to do was pull out my cell phone and the achievement was mine. By mid-July, I was feeling crafty, and the next task offered me an outlet by telling me to paint something. Returning to Animal Crossing New Horizons, I customized a furniture piece for the task. Technically, you don't see a lot of painting happening, but there's a paintbrush sound and there's a different color afterwards, so that's good enough for me. Returning to basics, the next weekly task was simply to fall to your death. Though there are literally endless options of games to pull this off in, I elected to go with my current gaming obsession, Fortnite. After falling in an honestly spectacular and accidental fashion, I had my task done. With the summer shower sweeping in, the next task was simply to stand in the rain. Once again, I got this on accident, leaving my game idle while exploring Sumeru and ending up soaked. However, my presence in Genshin was intentional as August rolled around, and the next task was to find a doctor. Making my way through my endless quest backlog, I found Dr. Baiju while doing his story quest. Continuing my journey towards health, the next task was to eat a salad. Tuning in once again to Old Reliable, I entered Stardew Valley, where I whipped up a salad and ate it. Moving from healthy living to healthy habits, the next task was to read a book. I stumbled upon this achievement by accident while playing Venba, a game about cooking Indian cuisines. Though I didn't anticipate doing much reading in the game, at one point the protagonist cracks open his mother's cookbook for old recipes and reads it. While barely a book, and basically a picture book at that, reading is reading, so that counts as the task. For the last week of August, we were tasked with finding a hologram. Though my first thought was to turn to a sci-fi title, I nabbed this task while doing my dailies in Fortnite, as I spotted a giant hologram of a samurai overlooking Night City. Thanks, Johnny. As summer drew to a close, we mourned the return to September with a task to visit a beach. While still making my way through indie titles, I picked up this achievement in a short hike, while playing beach basketball. From the sea to the sky, our next task was to visit the moon. Thankfully, I, like everyone else, had just started playing Starfield, and didn't have to think twice about where to pick this one up. Piloting my hot dog back to the Sol system, I touched down on Luna to nab this task. As we moved toward the end of September and beginning of October, we began celebrating both my 1-year Twitch anniversary and my actual 25th birthday. Tasks thus appropriately turned festive, the first one being to find a cake. Thankfully, Fortnite was also celebrating its 5-year birthday, so I eagerly piggybacked off their celebration. Loading up a match, I found this anniversary cake deep in the jungle. Yummy. The celebration continued into next week, as we were tasked with wearing a party hat. After racking my brain a bit, I recalled a game all about hats. And murder! Booting up Among Us, I opened a lobby and equipped my little dude in an even littler party hat, completing the achievement. The next week celebrated me and my iconic look by asking us to wear a face bandage in-game. I actually ended up grabbing this achievement again in Fortnite. With this demon skin, that's basically my aesthetic in a nutshell. As a final hurrah for my stream birthiversary, we were tasked with attending a party in-game. Booting up Amori, I helped throw a ghost party deep in the Pyrefly Forest, nabbing the achievement, "Yo bros, pass the booze!" Get it? Done with celebrations, we returned back to the classic video game tasks, as we were asked to max out a skill. Still playing Starfield, I dumped points into my pistol experience to max my small firearm skill. Pew pew! Another classic achievement, we were next tasked with picking a pocket. Thankfully, I was still playing a Bethesda game, aka Starfield, so I was in a great position to get this task done. Though I had to spend extra points to make it possible, which is the dumbest thing I've ever experienced, I grabbed some loot from an unsuspecting NPC and finished the job. If you've been keeping relative track, the next week was the end of October, which meant, of course, that it was time to celebrate Halloween. Appropriately, our task was to wear a costume. Though I was originally going to turn to a game like Animal Crossing or Among Us for this task, I just so happened to be given a monster costume for a particular quest in, you guessed it, Starfield. Though I couldn't trick-or-treat in it, I was allowed to run around scaring people with it, which is honestly the next best thing for a Halloween task. Moving into November, our next task asked us to use a bomb. I loaded up Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, purposely failing the defuse to use the bomb on myself. Ow. After opening with a bang, we were next tasked with putting on a show. I grabbed this again while grinding in Genshin, as I had Farina take to the stage during her story quest, which was so beautiful, by the way. God, everybody, please go play Genshin. I promise it's good. The next week was Thanksgiving in the US, so we were appropriately tasked with preparing a turkey. Still on my Genshin grind, I prepared a lovely sweet madame, which looks like turkey to me, so let's say that works. Of course, after Thanksgiving comes Black Friday, so our next task was to buy an item on sale. At the time, I was messing around with another indie title, Potion Craft, and was regularly making sales with the locals. After bartering with another alchemist, I grabbed a few of her mushrooms on a steep discount, finishing the task. Nice. Moving into December, we decided to welcome in the winter season by making cookies. If you've noticed, I only ever cook in one of two games, and Genshin didn't have cookie options, so I turned once again to Stardew Valley. Busting out Grandma's recipe, I made some chocolate chip cookies and promptly ate them, finishing the task. As the weather turned ever colder, we were tasked to stave off the chill with sitting by a cozy fireplace. Tired of switching games, I turned yet again to Genshin. Heading to the Dawn Winery, I took a seat by the fireplace as Yelan, reminiscing on a year of scavenger hunting as 2023 quickly came to a close. With the holidays fast approaching, the penultimate task asked us to open a present in-game. Launching Fortnite, I scrolled through my emote archive for an old present opening animation, grabbing the tasks as I took this fat snowball to the face. And just like that, it was the final full week of the year, and as such, it was time for the final task. After beginning with one celebration, we ended with another, as the final achievement was to find a Christmas tree. Still working on my Fortnite Battle Pass, I made my way over to Classy Courts, where I stumbled into a tree. And with that, I had finished my last scavenger hunt task of 2023. Overall, I had a lot of fun achievement hunting with the Discord this year. It was definitely a lot more casual than the last scavenger hunts, but it was cool to stumble across tasks while doing stuff in my normal gaming sessions, rather than always going out of my way to re-download stuff. Though part of me misses the thrill of those older hunts, this was a great experience, and I'm happy I got to share my passion for achievement hunting and scavenger hunting with even more gamers. Though we're retiring the Achievement of the Week Discord group for 2024, if anyone has any new ideas for ways we can innovate on the scavenger hunt format, I'd love to do it again. Thanks to all the gamers who participated, and thanks to you, dear viewer, for making it to the end of this video. See you around, and this is Fire, signing off. Bye bye, gamers.